Wait,
Guap,
wait. Did
Guap
you say
Dad 4000.
a lobster?
Yeah, I'm playing poker. This guy has a question for me, but he's not like asking the question.
Oh,
Anyway.
well, in some universes, I guess. Welcome back, everybody, to the Good Batch podcast.
Hey,
Hey, how are you, Derek?
pretty good.
Good. And we
Yeah.
also have Mikey. Mikey, how you doing, buddy?
Living the dream.
Oh, aren't we all? What a dream it's been. Definitely with this episode 4 of Loki. Spoiler podcast, by the way. It always will be a spoiler review. Just kind of our thoughts as well as how we felt about it, and not just in general, but where we think it might lead. What do you guys think? Did you guys like the episode?
Um, yes, I think this is maybe the best episode for me so far.
Okay.
Same boat. I thoroughly enjoyed that episode.
Yeah.
Twists and turns.
I think a lot of
Themes.
people
It's
are
good.
going to have that theme of having this be their favorite so far. Um, it was a good one for sure. Definitely, this show just continues to surprise me more and more. I'm trying not to theorize as much as I can, but like how they're going about the show and like where it's leading, who knows? Like, and I love that. I mean, this show opens up the doorway to so many different possibilities, which I'm all for, but it's doing it in a manner that like isn't brain breaking and also is enjoyable to watch. And like, what better character in this type of format than Loki himself? God of Mischief. I guess we got two of them. Now that we know Sylvie was definitely a Loki at one point, and her life was kind of ruined by the TVA as a young child. Apparently, they've been trying to erase her since. What do you guys think that's all about?
Um, I'm imagining that this is what we're gonna get answers to when Sylvie interrogates Renslayer. But I don't know, like she wasn't doing anything too bad. She seemed really nice, and maybe that was the problem. No nice Lokis in our universe.
Right. And remember, this is 100% spoiler podcast, and so like I'm even going to jump ahead. What makes me wonder is I haven't listened to really any reviews yet on this other than I want to give them credit. They're just always a fun watch for me, the Real Rejects. And I watched their just live reaction breakdown, and it was a fun one. But I know one of them
Right.
said that it'd be interesting to see if this Loki is the only Loki that was ever like a good variant. And so like I'm
Oh,
intrigued to see what happens with these other Lokis, how they behave. Like if it's going to be a complex of like who's the best Loki would be pretty funny to see. But maybe the reason she was so unique was either one, like I don't want to go down this road of her just being a female, or two, because she was very different than the other Lokis in the sense that maybe she, like, could have been involved and like screwed up the timeline. So I thought that was kind of fascinating. What are your guys' thoughts of like, what's going on? Why is she a variant?
uh, I think since the beginning, TVA has been very, very propagandish and very our way or no way, and they, for whatever reason, whoever's in charge and whoever has created this thing, wants it to go a certain way so that it works good for them. And
Mhm.
good Loki is not in that equation. It's very simple. It's like baking a cake. It's like, well, I cannot put, I don't know, bunnies in the cake because I don't like bunny cake.
Hmm.
So we need to take out the bunny, right? Don't be the
Yeah.
bunny.
I think there's a master of puppets here at hand. I think the way we have been told variants exist. I mean, obviously, in episode 3, they talk about everyone in the TVA being a variant. I don't think that necessarily is going to be how we understand a variant to be. I think the female Loki or Sylvie is a tool in whoever this master of puppet is in order to achieve his or her grand plan. And
Hmm.
similar along the lines of Derek, this variant male Loki isn't in that plan, and
Hmm.
so that's how that's the vibe I'm getting, is that there's some Wizard of Oz or Master of Puppets who's picking and choosing select people to become variants to help fit his scheme.
Sure. And who's to better scheme than Loki himself? I'm gonna ride or die on my theory. I still think it's a Loki. I think that a Loki is in charge of everything, and he was like the first Loki, and things got crazy, and now he's all like omnipotent, and is just trying to do the best for what he believes is best for him.
Many Lokis.
Yeah, all Lokis everywhere. We get to see the timekeepers. That's kind of cool. They show up in a really omnibus. How do you say that word?
Ominous.
Thank you. Ominous scene. Which was, it was kind of like, okay, even at that point when we get to see them like in the shadow, I still wasn't on board. Like, I didn't think that they were really what they were. I definitely thought, okay, well, now that we're seeing them and it's not a Loki, I am smelling some serious. Oh shoot! What is that movie called? The Wizard of Oz. I'm smelling some vibes here.
Yeah.
And it is interesting. We actually did get to see. And by the way, we're gonna be jumping around all over on this episode. We're not just gonna go down the how everything progresses, but it was really interesting to see after one of them got its head cut off. The mechanisms inside, making it work. But what was even more fascinating to me was that Sylvie said it was an android, not a robot. Like everyone is gonna be like, oh, it's a robot. I'm like, well, she said android. What is that about? Why specifically an android and not a robot? I don't know. It'd make. Go ahead.
I think it just might be her vocabulary. Maybe there's something to pull from there, but I mean, Asgardians speak different from Earthlings who speak different from Kree, right? I think it's just her vocabulary, but maybe
could be. But I mean, androids are definitely different, than robots. They are
Dragon Ball
sentient. Well, I mean, they're sentient. That's like the definition of an android is it's like half human, half robot, or half alive, half robot. Where a robot is full robot and it can, have feelings and stuff still, and that's a whole different, topic. But android, I thought that word was very unique. Like, why did they say that word?
Why did you say that name?
Why did you say that word?
Can I just ask why, like, as soon as I saw them in floating chairs, I was like, well, that's too bad. I guess you're nothing, huh? Halo, floating chair people, nothing.
Yeah.
No,
I got
floating chair person, nothing. Like, every time. Can we get one floating
didn't
chair
Thanos-
person who is, like, effective?
Didn't Thanos have a
Thanos
floating chair?
was in a floating chair. Yeah. He had his throne.
But he walked, right? Like, he got up and walked.
Well,
right? Like, I mean, like, confined to floating chair. X-Men.
Devil's advocate, we've
dude.
only seen like 30 seconds of the timekeepers, so.
And those weren't even the timekeepers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Just floating chair people. They just aren't good. They're worse than Loki's.
Now,
all the time.
Yeah, floating. I wasn't disappointed. Like, I'm more intrigued to see like what's going on, but I don't know. I don't know. Half of them I couldn't even understand, and then the middle one just seemed like, yeah. I got some Halo vibes too. Now that you say it, you have these dudes in floating chairs, and yeah. I mean, it's whatever, but.
That's what I got. I kind of talked to Nick about that as well. I feel like the timekeepers are the prophets, and the TVA are all of the elites.
Yeah,
with the saying Healy from Halo.
Sure,
just pulls over their eyes.
It's a really, really good connection for sure. Now we're gonna back up a little bit. We're gonna go toward the beginning of the episode where we see some of the best acting I think in this episode between I don't know the actress's name, but we'll just say Sylvie and Loki. And they're sitting on a rock on a beach. You guys probably remember the scene. It was very, very beautiful. Just kind of seeing the world end in front of them, and they're talking and really coming to terms with like, are we destined to always lose? And Tom Hiddleston replies, no, we're destined to survive. Which is pretty cool. And I don't think he said it like that. I actually think it would have been better if it was said like that. But they came to the conclusion like, we do lose, and we lose really hard, but we always survive. And that's definitely true of Loki's nature. He is always going to try to do what he wants to achieve, but he will always, before anything, make sure he survives the outcome. He's very narcissistic, as we've seen, and obviously, as they have said in this episode. But I actually think the image we have on the screen right now is the image I'm talking about. What did you guys think of this scene?
So I think this was cool, but like to me, this is really Loki's like hero moment. Like our Loki from 2012, right? That progressed with Thor on the Rainbow Bridge and all that other fun stuff. Like he had his arc. This is Loki, I think, fulfilling his hero arc of finally choosing heroism, right? Of finally kind of being shifted in his alignment towards the good side of things rather than the more evil side of things in this moment here. I don't know if it's specifically a thing of, oh well, we never die, because like I'm that would be kind of silly, because then he becomes cartoon and then there's never any stakes with the character. I think it's more of him just being like, we're gonna die but I'm gonna be brave
I think the
because
problem
I'm
is
with
that Tom Hiddleston is
life.
just too good.
Tom, yeah, he's fine, he's good. I think you've fallen for the Hiddleston effect.
Maybe. I think he's a great actor.
He's good. He's good.
This is a whack relationship in my eyes.
Yeah.
Falling in love with yourself I mean,
Hey.
it's very mentally supporting, but like there are cartoon skits you can look up that kind of play with this idea that if you met yourself, what would you do?
I'd hate myself.
And the vibe I got from this was the exact same vibe I got from a certain Newgrounds cartoon. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's definitely interesting, and
Well,
it's an idea that you don't see in mainstream media or any of the MCU movies of a character falling in love with themselves from another universe. So cool,
sure.
interesting, weird like not concepts.
Mm.
Weird probabilities could happen here if if
Well,
they were to have a
like
child.
to be fair though, like I've actually thought about it too, and technically yes, they are the same people, but they're not at the same time. Because they are from different dimensions, and so
Uh-huh.
like their entire upbringing, all their beliefs, all of it could be different. Because
Yeah, their
there's
entire DNA makeup could be completely
a
different. I
hundred
mean,
percent
They,
different. I
how
mean,
different,
they
how
have the same parents.
weird,
no, no, no,
how
no. I
weird
mean,
is
because think
this?
about this. See, at the very end of the episode, we had an alligator Loki. Like that's
Right.
not the same parents as Tom Hiddleston's Loki, and so like I'm not
Well,
saying obviously, yeah, she's a human, great, but like Thor could have been a woman in her universe.
or
Uh-huh.
The
coming soon.
queen, could have been like the
Soon.
Asgardian king instead, and the king died off or whatever. Like everything
Uh-huh.
could be different. Is my point, and so I'm not as weirded out on the weird incesty kind of thing that like people are suggesting of loving yourself. I don't know if that's incest, but I don't
That's
know.
not incest. No.
Right, right. But I mean, it's on that level of just weird and taboo.
It-
Um, with
So,
this relationship, though, yeah, it's definitely awkward, but I think it's very fitting for his character.
Yeah, he loves himself.
Yeah,
yeah, I think that's really cool and poetic. But I don't think that this is any more weird than like Adam and Eve, which is like a Christianity based thing
that's
of
fair.
where like there's like, oh well,
Eve is
who they
created
have
from
kids,
Adam.
and
Yeah.
then they have kids, and then they have kids.
Well,
Like
yeah,
this is no
and like
different to
even
me
if you
in
want to go
that.
deeper with Adam and Eve, Eve is literally a spawn in the Bible of Adam's rib. So
Well, there you go. Yeah, there.
Well,
Love that
yeah,
fall in love
that
with
I still
yourself.
find both of those situations odd. I don't
yeah,
think Adam and Eve is going to
Right. Well,
change my
that's
whole
what
viewpoint here.
I
that's
don't
what I mean.
think.
Like, it's strange. It's not something I'm gonna confine. Well, this is a very human situation. It's like we live in a world where like Drax and like Gamora and Chris Pratt are loving each other, and that's totally fine. Does she even have compatible genitals? Who
Uh-huh.
knows? I don't care because it's Marvel. I just want to see them kick and punch some people and then beat up bad guys. That's what we're looking at here.
No, that's fair, and I don't think anyone's gonna say that it's not odd. It is odd, but it doesn't bug me. Like I'm on board. Like I like it
Yeah.
because not only is it showing us a different side of Loki, even if he is weirdly in love with himself, that's a different version of him. But I mean, we have seen that Sylvie and Tom Hiddleston are different. They do things different. They have different motives. So in a way, I mean, yeah, you kind of are dating yourself, but you're not at the same time too, because you've, I mean, what what makes up you, and I don't know. That's where like it gets not fun for me.
Philosophy.
Yeah. Um,
Philosophy is wild, man.
philosophy is pretty wild. After that scene of the beautiful like planet blowing up in front of them, we get to see some Mobius, and I think it actually
Yeah.
comes back to the scene that I was describing. But yeah, we get to see Mobius, and I think Mobius is definitely a fan favorite. Um, who would have known? Owen Wilson being in the MCU, being a fan favorite. I would have never guessed it. Like honestly, I thought he would have been a meme, but I think he's done really well in this role. Despite being Owen Wilson, like in always playing himself, I'm not really disbanded. Like my belief is still in the show. Like I believe his acting. Um, but we also see, and I'm trying to remember her name. Is it like T21 or something? The captain.
15. Oh,
B-15.
B-15. Okay. Yeah, the captain. They're trying to figure out, where they're at, and obviously, talking about the kind of weird relationship going on between the two Lokis, they almost, well, they do. They build a different timeline. Um, Power of love, I guess, saves the day.
uh, yeah. So rewatching that scene, I kind of see it as a not a loophole. What are those called when
Oh, I know
stories
what you're talking about. It's
a not a wormhole.
no, I know what you're saying though.
Um, Anywho, if the TVA doesn't get involved there, the planet blows up and they die.
It's
So
like
I
it's
don't
like
know
a
why
Deus
that
Ex Machina
created.
kind of thing.
Oh,
No.
not Schrodinger's cat. You're thinking of like the time,
Plot
now I
hole.
can't.
Now
I'm
Remember.
none
trying
of
to
us
think of
can think
plot
of it.
hole. It's a
Yeah.
plot hole. It's a
Okay.
plot hole because apocalypse events make it so that no, what are those stupid things called? The shoot off of the main timeline. Um, a variant is created during those.
Yeah.
Anywho, the apocalypse is supposed to prevent anything from that happening, and it still would have happened had the TVA not gone bloop. Here you go. Here's a door to come back to safety. Otherwise, planet crashes into moon. They're dead. So I
Would
don't
they have been
understand.
though? Because like I don't know, they're gods. So I mean, Thor seemed pretty okay after an explosion of a spaceship. So
But he
like
didn't get a planet smashed on him.
I don't
Loki
know.
dies by
I
getting
don't
his
know.
neck crushed. So I think a
Neck
planet
crushed by
smashing on
But
top of
but
him.
but to be fair, he had the Tesseract at the time when he got smashed by like the building and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, the Power Stone, all this other stuff. Like it's super super computed. I try not to think about it
What?
too much because Thanos had like three of the stones at that point or whatever.
Like he had the space stone. He didn't have the power stone yet. He didn't have the
He had the
mind stone
Space
yet.
Stone, right?
Didn't have the reality stone yet. Or I think he only had the space stone and he doesn't use the gauntlet. I think he just chokes him with his hand.
But I mean,
Anyway,
still, it's gonna
it's
give
the
you
fact that
power
like the
regardless.
apocalypse is gonna happen, so I don't know why this big spike got caught in the
So
system.
So my thing was, yeah, it could be the power of love, and that's super, super simple and boring and whatever, and that's such a Disney thing to do, and that's another really boring thing that is like, okay, whatever, fine. Power of love, love's kiss breaks the spell, all this other nonsense. That's fine. It's just played out. I
Yeah.
would prefer it be. They've been telling us all season long. Loki, it's not about winning and losing. Loki is just always meant to be alone. Last episode was big about we are just meant to be
And
alone.
then he
We are just
wasn't
meant
alone. Yeah,
and
that
in
would have
that
been
moment, they
great.
were not alone. I hope that's what they go for, whether it's a
Uh,
romantic relationship or a deeper connection. There's many different languages of love other than romantic. So it doesn't much matter to me. I would like it to be that Loki is not alone and he now knows that he has somebody he trusts 100%. And that is what messes up the timeline so drastically. That would be really
Nexus
cool,
event
but I don't know if you can explain that to
in
children because
two
children are
episodes.
simple.
I remembered it's a Nexus event is what they create there.
Listen, when
Like,
I was
the
when
name
I
of the
was a
episode.
kid, I didn't understand half the stuff I was watching. I was an idiot, and so I don't think like keeping it super easy is gonna matter for like they're not thinking about kids. They're not thinking about
Yeah, what
oh,
is this rate? Is this TV?
I would
I
say
think it's
TV
like
14.
yeah. I would say it's TV-14. There's a lot of
Definitely
shit
not Y7.
said
Yeah.
and
And yeah, there's
like
curse words,
killing. Like
asshole.
she stabs a dude who I
Yeah,
guess
right.
we find out is like just
Right in
a
the chest.
innocent dude. So
Hmm.
yeah, I would assume that this is a little bit more violence and
Written more for a
all sorts of crazy stuff.
smart audience.
We'll briefly go over the scene where Loki's put into a dimension of a time loop where Sif kicks his ass over and over again.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember this woman too. She's definitely from Thor 1. I don't know if she was probably in Thor 2. I don't know if the friend joys were in. Yeah, and was she in Ragnarok? I believe so. Maybe I don't recall, but yeah, she's Asgardian. She's super strong. She's one of Thor's buddies
Oh,
Yeah,
that fought a lot
Sif
of
is her name.
wars. Yeah, and so
gotcha.
apparently this is actually something that I'm familiar with from I really like mythology, but in mythology, Norse mythology, Loki cuts a piece like off her hair, and I think in the mythology she does a lot more than just kick his butt. I mean, it's kind of weird, but like I guess this is actually from um, Norse mythology, which is kind of fun. You know, they're playing homage to in air quotations real life stories at end quotations. But you know, we just get to see them act it out, and
Lord.
it's kind of a fun little tidbit.
I did like that. Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I mean, yeah, it was a solid I guess loop of whatever. But then I don't know because after the third time, right? Rule of Three's TV, of course. But if he had been in there realistically for like 2 hours or whatever, and this had happened to him 100 times or something, like like did he eventually Groundhog Day his way out of it? Like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm gonna talk to her, and then she's just gonna yell at me every time. And does he have to say it again and again and again and again and again? Because that
Well,
is pretty awful. Like, I don't know. Like, they didn't really. It was funny for scenes of
expand
comedy
on it. Yeah.
purposes, but it wasn't like it was super interesting. It's like, why wouldn't they have like 20 of these scenes ready to go? Because once he figures out how to get past this one, it like changes to another one. I don't know. It was just kind of strange to me. I think it was just more for a comedy bit and to bring in, hey, remember this person?
yeah. And
Woo. Yeah. What
anyways,
happens if he tries to leave that room?
Yeah, I
Does he
imagine if he
go
goes out
somewhere
the
else?
I imagine if he exits stage left, he comes in stage right. That would have
yeah,
been fun.
Yeah.
I agree.
Anyway,
We get to see more of Mobius, and you know he's starting to wonder, kind of like what's going on a little bit. Definitely has some seeds planted in his mind that he, you know, it's just his job to be curious. It's his job to figure things out. And he goes to his boss. I can't remember her name. I don't know if you guys remember her name, but
Ravana Renslayer.
thank you. So
Yeah.
Ravada, she excuse me, she you know, says nobody's gonna be talking with the female Loki, Sylvie, and he's like, oh, you know, he's really trying to get in there, really trying to figure out, you know, what's really going on. And he's just reminded, you know, like stay in your place. And you can definitely see like the TVA is a machine. And yeah, he's definitely in that machine. We actually get to hear a little bit about some vampires, some titans, Kree. That's definitely opening up the window for Blade if I've ever heard it. The
Yeah.
Titans, you know, it's just like, ooh, I wonder what Titans, you know. I wonder if there was some rogue Thanos at one point that they had to take in. That'd be kind of a funny side story.
I mean, well, they failed because didn't Thanos? Well, I mean, I guess that was part of the sacred timeline, so maybe it was supposed to happen. But
Yeah.
he time traveled, and that was totally fine. TVA was nowhere. Neither were the Eternals. Lazy, bad words.
Well, maybe it
I
was
don't know.
supposed to happen. I mean, yeah, there's always going to be plot holes for sure.
I,
Um,
I'm kind of leaning towards the sacred timeline really isn't a thing that has to happen in the MCU. It's just whoever the puppet or that the puppeteer
Yeah.
is what he deems the TVA should go after. But we'll see. All
Right.
theory.
I agree. There's something going on that you know we're not seeing yet. Now, definitely one of my highlights of the episode is we get to see Loki with Mobius again on the interrogation table. I just love these two actors together. I think they have a lot of chemistry, and they play really well off of each other. you got to give it to Owen Wilson. He does a pretty dang good job for what he's asked to do, and that might be my opinion, but I really enjoy these scenes. I always am looking forward to seeing more of this kind of acting between these two characters, and I'm always happy to see it. Now, Loki is trying to get Mobius, on his side. Because you definitely do see, Loki is changing from this, but at the same time, he still has his quirks, like saying to Mobius, like, I only got two guards, like, she got three.
Yeah, yeah, I
Like, I
like that.
love
That was
those
good.
little lines. It's great. But he's definitely recognizing that, like, there's a bigger picture going on. And whether it be the hero arc of him or just, his concern for Sylvie, whatever his intentions are, he wants Mobius on his side. Um, because I genuinely do think that that Loki does like Mobius. Um, and we kind of see that a little bit more in the episode later. Um, but yeah, apparently one of the other TVA agents is missing. Not necessarily missing, but like to her comrades, they don't really know what's going on with her, and the boss lady explains to Mobius like she's dead. The female Loki got in her head, and it really deteriorated her, and she passed away. And it's like, oh well, she was fine. So like, there's a lot of mystery going on in this episode. Now, one thing I noticed is that at this point, I mean, we've been already talking for 25 minutes plus.
Mhm.
This felt like a very good length episode for like pacing wise and what we were getting at the same time. I was at this point thinking like this is a long episode, but in truth, it wasn't. It was about the same length. I'm all for it if they continue to do stuff like this.
Yeah,
Um, I really kind of was bummed out in WandaVision when they had those shorter episodes. I felt like they definitely could have added in some content, but these guys get paid a lot more money than I do. They seem to know what they're doing. So I don't know, just kind of a interesting thing I liked, wanted to point out.
I
Um,
I just well, I mean, WandaVision was very like they purposefully did that. They could have done 2 30-minute episodes at the beginning and then for episode one or whatever, but they chose to do a 30-minute thing to keep it short, to say like, well, no, we're just going to do these small little confined things to keep people on their toes. It was so brilliantly designed. Whereas like this one, the last episode was very much Doctor Whovian and very much like, oh, well, we're going to just do one kind of small little adventure. And I don't think they're nearly as good here in this series at doing that.
Yeah,
This
well
episode
thought out.
was paced amazingly well.
mm-hmm.
Last episode was not. I would have preferred to have last episode last maybe 13 minutes and clunk it onto the beginning of this one, and it would have been perfect. And we wouldn't need 6 episodes. We could have just knocked it down to 5. But that's just me. I just think that WandaVision was designed much more perfectly and meant to be 30 minutes to fit that specific skin, I guess I would call it. Anyway,
It's fair. I just think that WandaVision could have added some things that I think we wanted to see, and I mean, you can definitely blame it on COVID or whatever, but with Loki, yeah, I agree. This episode was paced really, really well. Mikey, were you going to say something?
No, no, I just hanging out.
So, moving forward, forgive me, her name's B-15, the captain? Okay, so B-15, we see something going on with her. Like, either she's having, like, an asthma attack or she's experiencing something. And we get to see her go into the interrogation room with Sylvie. And you can tell that something's going on with B-15 because she's like, hey, I'm going to put away my weapon. You're going to come with me. And you're like, oh, I forgot that she actually got taken over, mind possessed by Sylvie. Maybe something's happening. Maybe she's remembering. And sure enough, she's really curious what she saw when Sylvie, projected those memories in her mind. And we find out, like these variants had lives, and not just any lives. Like they had, some of them had pretty good lives. And it makes you wonder like what's happening with all these variants and why are they being pulled from their timelines. Not that it's probably going to ever be answered, but we definitely see the true nature of the TVA, and maybe it's kind of like a oh shoot, just I mean like CIA or any kind of like
MIB.
secretive organization where there's people that know what's really going on behind the scenes, and then there's people who think that they know what's going on behind the scenes, and they think they're
Yeah,
doing what's
yeah.
right. I could definitely see that kind of happening. But yeah, there's definitely a power grab. There's something going on in the TEA, and that power grab, so maybe not power grab's the right word, but there's a big power play happening. Um,
I think that's the one small misstep in this specific episode that I was like, wow, you really missed an opportunity there. Because I feel like I like B-15 as a character. I don't know how many of the general people who watch this show like that character
sure,
or like that character currently. This was a fantastic opportunity to show us that B-15 had a family or kids, like flashback and
I
show us
agree.
what she was seeing. Or maybe even maybe
Maybe
it
she
is
was like
better
a
not
mayor
showing.
or something of a city, and
Yeah, because like we just don't know, and I think that how she reacts to her memories is really really interesting in
mm,
regards to Renslayer, because I think Renslayer knows that they're all variants and does not care, meaning that she's probably got like I'm gonna say this, I don't know if it's a real thing, battered wife syndrome, and maybe
mm,
she's like scared to leave the TVA, or maybe she just likes not being in her old life. Maybe she likes being in control here at TVA. You know what I mean? Like it's
yeah,
interesting that they're having the two. It's like a dichotomy. B-15 is just like I miss that. Owen Wilson, Mobius, I miss that. C-50, C-20, I think her name was. I miss that. But Renslayer's like, no, I'm good. No, I'm good with TVA. We can rock with TVA.
yeah.
So it's just, it really tells about her character.
Maybe she's not a variant.
Mm, I think she would be only because they show her at the beginning of the episode as just a grunt. So I think she's like working her way up
That's fair.
purposefully.
That's fair. Yeah.
And another thing about her, they really made her a bad guy this week. Like there's no chance for her, in my opinion,
Right.
of redeeming herself because like Sylvie goes, "Do you remember me?" And she goes, "Yeah, I remember you. Do you remember why you
So
did
cheeky.
what you did to me?" And she was like, "Nah." Because she's like, I don't care. I just want to be here to gain power. So
Mm,
like you see who she's all about. So I think as far as a character, she's bad, no chance of redeeming, and you
sure.
know, hopefully she
Yeah,
bites the
she's
dust
definitely
because
definitely hungry for that power. That's for sure.
she's
Um,
thirsty.
with her, my biggest problem with her this episode was she had a display case with an open slot for a sword. Just I think that's just
Yeah.
arrogant. If I don't know.
Maybe she always had that. She's like, oh, when I
Maybe.
catch this little blonde, ooh, you know what she did to me on my very like first day in front of the judge? The little girl whipped her hand away from me and I couldn't do anything about it. This little girl overpowered me completely,
Dang,
stole my gym pad.
checkmate.
Mm,
There was nothing I could do. I'm gonna watch for her, and it's been a 2,000 year struggle with Renslayer and Sylvie, I
no,
guess.
no kidding. Um, Now skip forward a little bit. Mobius switches his. We're gonna just say little time pad with the Renessa?
Ravana.
Ravana.
Ravana, sorry. With Ravana's time pad. And, he gets to see the interrogation. There's a lot of interrogations in this episode, but the interrogation of Hunter C20, the
It's
TVA.
real. It's real.
Yeah,
It's
her.
real.
And he finds out, like, she has snapped out of it, basically. Like, she's kind of confirming Loki's defense to try to get Mobius on his side. And so now Mobius definitely knows something's going on now. He goes to Loki next, and he's like, "Hey, like, can I really trust you?" And Loki's like, "Yeah, you can trust me." And he's like, "Well, now I'm trusting two Lokis, which that doesn't really seem in his odds." But Loki assured him, "Well, you can trust a friend." And so you can definitely see the camaraderie between uh, Loki and Mobius. They definitely have respect for each other, and they get to escape Loki's little prison, right to being caught by the boss and the minions. and I didn't see this coming. I honestly didn't. I didn't think that they would prune Mobius is the word I believe they use.
Yep,
Um,
pruning a bush.
yeah. So
Roger.
Mobius gets disintegrated,
Yeah.
uh, which was pretty interesting because you definitely could see that it did bug. Um, sorry, what's her name one more time?
Bug. Oh, bug. I see. I thought you were talking about like the stick bugging
Ravana.
Owen.
Ravana. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I'll remember it now. So it definitely did get to her. You could tell that she wasn't happy that she had to do it. But she did it. She believes in something, and we don't really know exactly what that is. But hey, power to her. So yeah, Mobius
She
is,
tried.
yeah,
She had a whole conversation. She tried to get him drunk. She was like, "Yo, stop talking. Stop this
Don't
craziness.
pursue this. Yeah.
We live under a Hitler-esque individual. Stop this. You're going to this. Don't do it. Don't do it." And then he did it. In her
right.
point of view, it's whatever.
Now,
Review the
Ravana goes and
Jedi.
visits Sylvia and sees that Sylvia's hair's all wet from the scene of her talking to the captain, and showing her memories. She's like, well, where's the captain? And she's like, oh, you don't know. So they know that the captain's been influenced now.
And they do
What?
nothing about that.
No, they don't really do anything about it. They're like, oh, go find her, and we don't see her till later. Here's where I'm still gonna stick to my theory, okay? Because we get to see Sylvia being escorted by the guards alongside Loki, and they're being taken to the timekeepers. Now, they even ask like, "What? You just brought us up here to kill us?" And they're laughing and whatever. You know, I still am gonna stick on my Loki theory, and I think the reason why is because the one thing that all the Lokis we have seen or like has been told to us is they all kind of have the same kryptonite, so to speak, is their hubris. They like I could just imagine a Loki being like, "Yeah, I want to see these two idiot Lokis before we kill them," and that was a mistake, obviously. Because the captain comes into the Star Wars Death Star scene, and throws the lightsaber, or excuse me, the timekeeper
Right.
button collar things off, and they get a fight, and they have a pretty interesting fight. I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan. I thought the choreography was kind of weird.
And it was lackluster, that's for sure.
Yeah, I felt like I was watching like Smallville.
It was like ting ting grapple grapple ting ting stab.
Right? Yeah, yeah. You know what? It was like Loki. Because I know we were playing Sea of Thieves a week ago, and you see Jack fighting in the background. It's just like that. He's just in
Yeah.
the background swinging his sword while Sylvia was spinning around and doing her things. But
It reminded me. It reminded me of them going, "Hey, people really, really, really liked that throne room scene
yeah,
with Rey and Kylo Ren.
yeah.
Let's try to recreate that." And they tried. And they tried.
See, I didn't even think about that. I thought about Luke versus Vader in the
Oh,
Oh
throne room,
no.
and like that's magical. But that's the vibe I was getting because there was two guards, standing on the side of the elevator. I'm like, dude, this is like Empire or not Empire, excuse me, Return of the Jedi. This is crazy, and the guards suck. Like their guards suck. Um,
as designed, right?
well,
I
yeah,
mean,
I mean as designed, but also they
there's a
probably don't get in
reason.
conflict that often.
There's a reason that pawns are not allowed to move backwards because they'd probably kill the king, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, is
I said this to Derek. I don't understand these beings that are all so powerful need guards. It boggles the brain for me, so I'm guessing these beings really aren't that powerful. But then again, they have an entire place that can just shut off Asgardian magic, so why they need guards? They have sticks that can make people go poof. I don't get it.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, they like dry ice a lot too.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
always foggy.
I was like, yeah, do they need to be like in a freezer? Also, those humans, because they're clearly human or human-esque, are
Yeah.
probably really cold. I
Yeah.
don't know what's going on here.
Well, I'm guessing those things are computers, so they need the cooler
That's
temperatures. So they don't
right.
It is
That's right. They
cooler.
all get overheated, and then they'll shut down. Bad things
So,
will
so you
happen.
sahave said they were androids earlier, right? Which means
Well,
that they
yeah,
Well,
shouldn't
that's
be.
what Sylvie
she
calls them.
specifically calls them their
Mhm.
androids.
So, like, do they play solitaire in the throne room, and the guards just have to pretend that they're not doing anything?
You know, I had some
I
weird questions like
it's
that too.
Wizard of
Like,
Oz,
where do
man.
they go poop?
Here's
What do they
here's
eat?
what I imagine.
Do they
Okay,
poop?
I imagine they're just puppets, and it's
Uh
pretty.
huh.
That's what I imagine because she cuts the head off the one. She's like, haha, I did it. And then the other two
They
are sitting there like,
start people.
they start laughing like a goon. It's good because it says to me like, oh,
These.
okay, there's one person behind the scenes here controlling all three, and that's why
Uh,
like the first one was like, I am majestic, and then the third one was like, it was like Swedish Chef,
yes,
and
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I felt
he's
like
like
one of them
covering
was like
his
a
mouth.
Muppet. Like,
Exactly, yeah, because it's one, right? It has to be one person pretending to be three because three is powerful.
they need to
Ooh.
hire that. The timekeepers need to hire that. Clone Wars guy that does all the clone voices.
Yeah, yeah.
He'd be great.
I think it's by design. I think it's one dude with a
mhm.
microphone, and he's going, "Oh man,
Oh yeah,
I know
totally
that
Wizard of the Oz.
this plays to your Loki theory because this is what a Loki would do. He's like, I'm gonna set up a whole world. I'm gonna kidnap people, and I'm gonna make them believe that they were created by me, which is three people, and I'm gonna do this, and at the end of it, I'm just gonna have a good chuckle, and I'll be on with my day.
Right.
Like that would be
Yeah,
a
and
very Loki thing, but
The
he'll know
only
better
the
how to shut
only
down Asgardian magic than Loki.
right, the only flaw in that they're like the only hole that really comes to my mind is maybe he can't do it, but Loki likes to project himself or other things, and maybe our Loki's unique to doing that. I don't know, because I don't
Sylvie
think
doesn't.
Sylvie
Sylvie
hasn't done
doesn't
it.
even want to
Yeah,
be a Loki.
that's right.
I feel like
But
she
yeah,
doesn't want to
she
be a
she
Loki.
calls she calls them mindless androids. I just looked it up.
Mm.
So
I feel like she doesn't want to be a Loki because she was just snatched out of her perfect little reality, and they're like, Loki, you're a Loki, and she's like, I'm a Sylvie. No,
yeah,
you're Loki. And then they bring in like all these Loki variants, like Alligator Loki and Black Loki, Black Thor Loki, and they're just like, look at these Lokis. You're one of these Lokis. I'm Sylvie. Stop calling me Loki. I'm Sylvie. So I think that's what
Wait,
that is
or
there.
almost that she feels ashamed to be a Loki, like it's a negative thing. She wants nothing to
Yeah,
do with it.
yeah, yeah. Maybe she saw what they were all about and was like, no, now I'm gonna change my
Not
mind.
even that.
And I
I
remember her
mean,
saying
like
that.
if you've been told your whole life that you're something and it's bad, you're
you're a
not going to
Loki,
associate
baby.
it with good things. And so like she just
Right.
doesn't want to be Loki, regardless if she's seen other Lokis or not.
Hmm. Interesting.
And I
Now,
wonder if she has seen those other Lokis.
yeah, that would be interesting for sure.
So we don't know where we end up.
I'm really, really looking forward to the next episode. But before that, we get to see Tom Hiddleston act out how I would try to tell someone I like them as well. Has a very hard time doing it and doesn't get to the punch. Someone punches him before he can get there. And
She
we
has the
see.
worst. Go ahead.
No,
Finish
no,
your
go,
thought.
go, go, go for
She has the worst peripheral vision in this world.
it. Yeah.
Her tunnel vision is like the size of a pea in both eyes. Like I rewatched the scene. I was like, I don't know how she didn't see her coming. Whatever.
Now, do you think in 5 years Marvel will dupe us and say that that was a Loki projection and that wasn't really him?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
just comes out around the corner.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Ravana prunes him. And, it was definitely surprising to me, but, like, after 2 seconds, I'm like, okay, yeah, they're not going to kill him. They're going to do something. Obviously, this is a um, time show, and so, like, they can do a lot of different time stuff, but we actually
Yeah.
find out that he goes to, like, a different dimension almost, and we see, or I guess we hear, some amazing man's voice say,
It's the alligator calling it now.
is it yeah, okay. Loki says, am I in hell? The
Hell,
Norse, yeah, underworld. And someone says, not yet. And then he looks up and he says, but you will unless you come with us. Definitely a T2 kind of moment. And we see what I can only describe as
Bad
Loki
Batch.
Loki Thor version. and then
Black Thor.
oh yeah, Black Loki Thor. Um,
Loki.
we also see I think that's the classic Loki
Pretty old. Nick called him
costume,
Kermit the
which
Frog.
he
If
even
you
has
look
the
at his
pantyhose and stuff.
Yeah, if you look at his neck, he has a Kermit the Frog like
Oh
little
yeah,
collar.
I'm looking at the image
Nice.
right now.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, he does have it almost looks like a
yeah.
jester. Yeah, that's funny. And then we have what I like to call Spy Kids Loki because it looks like a kid that would be in Spy Kids,
Yeah.
um,
And then the best one.
holding a crocodile,
Yeah.
and
Nah, he's what does the crocodile
alligator
have? What is it? What is it? What does the crocodile or the alligator have
teeth.
on his head?
Nostrils.
Stop! He has a crown. He has a crown. That's a Loki.
Oh,
That's
I
a
thought you
Loki
were
bear.
talking-
Oh, I was
I
thought
thought
you
you
were
were-
talking about the biology of alligator. I'm like I'm not
No,
gonna
no.
pretend like I
Crocodiles,
know.
yeah, I was like,
No.
I honestly don't.
I don't know. Whatever Marvel decides to call that thing when we get a
Oh
closer
yeah,
look.
we definitely got one of the most fan favorited Lokis of all time, which I'm calling it now, alligator crown Loki, which is fantastic. And like I misread it the first time. I thought that was his pet, the Spy Kids dude. I thought he has a Loki alligator with a
How
crown.
do you miss that crown? It's the most epic crown.
Oh,
in all
I
of
didn't miss the
Batman.
crown. I thought he has a Loki alligator with a crown. I
how
didn't
did
really
he put
think
the crown
about.
on?
I don't know.
Magically,
Did he, like-
that's how.
Oh man.
Listen,
yeah,
it's
there you
it's
go.
like Spider Pig. Wait, is that his name? Ham Pig. Spider Ham?
What-
Spider
yeah,
Ham.
Yeah.
It's like Spider Ham. It's just maybe he's from the Spider Ham universe.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I don't know. That'd be kinda
Anything's
funny.
possible in
Dude,
time.
if we get a Spider Ham cameo, this show's the best show of all time.
I don't know why they'd ever throw Spider-Man in.
I
here.
want to
It has
see a
nothing
pig.
to do.
I want to see a pig in Spider-Man clothes. Okay.
You have as much a chance as Darth Vader showing up as you do Spider.
Oh, I think I got a better chance because we have another animal. It is confirmed. It is. We gotta come up with a clever name for him, but Alligator Loki is present on the battlefield and he's ready to battle. Now, one thing that I want to point out is the background. Looking back at it now, they look like they are in modern times, like our modern times almost. And there's some.
What?
Well, let me elaborate. There's a lot of destruction, and like it makes me wonder. Okay, like is this
Miami? What's that city in Florida?
No,
I'm sorry.
I was
That's
just gonna
too
say
soon?
like, is this like another dimension of like when Earth got invaded by Thanos, or like what's going on? Because that'd be kind of interesting. Maybe these Lokis are time hoppers, or
McAfee.
maybe they're all just stuck in this dimension. Who knows? But yeah, that's really the episode. What do you guys think?
Think that scene you're talking about where it ends off is a dystopian New York. It somewhat looks like the building on the right hand side of the screen is like a dilapidated Avengers Tower, and then you can kind of see Doctor Strange's sanctuary below it as well. So who knows? Who knows where we're going? Maybe they don't get poofed when they get touched by the magic wand. Instead, they get teleported to somewhere else. At this point, like what I liked about this episode is that it opened it up to tons of different possibilities. Anything could happen, and I'd believe it because I feel like the lid was blown off.
This is definitely my favorite Marvel anything since the Endgame, Infinity War movies. It is incredible, like how they are changing the game in the sense of like, okay, well, here's your expectations, and we're gonna throw them up a hat, and something else is gonna come out of that hat. Now with like this multiverse kind of thing opening up, like I already have a hard time following the comics in the sense of like what's going on with the multiverses. It's even going to be more complex and crazy, but I think they're doing it in a pretty good job. My personal rating for this episode, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10, on the level of what we have been rating. There are some flaws, but like there's always going to be flaws in everything. And this episode, I was very, very happy with it. I enjoyed the pacing. I was fully immersed. I have no complaints. No genuine complaints. What about you two?
So, for me, it's a 9. It's back to the form of the first episode. I really enjoyed pretty much everything about it, except for a
Mm,
few things that I was like, okay, you missed us. You could have given us a little bit more of B-15's story to make us care that she came in
I agree.
like the Eagles and saved the day. But other than that, like almost perfect. Like the pacing, as you said, was good. The music has always been good, always will be good. The acting is amazing. Sylvie is a character that I actually like, and I want to see become a main thing, right?
Yeah.
With Loki as well. I want to see them more than just this show, as well as Mobius. So yeah, no Casey, but okay, whatever. Maybe Casey's the big bad, you know?
I
No.
I'm gonna let Mikey go, and then I'm gonna tell you my theory about Sylvie. But go ahead.
Initially, I was gonna give it an 8, and then the post credit scene happened, and it earns an extra point for Alligator Loki.
Yeah.
We're full hopping on that train as the best character in this TV show.
Oh
If they
man.
get rid of him, gonna go down to a 5. But yeah, it was pretty solid, fun to watch,
And
easy to watch.
I
There
think
were
in the
moments where I
comics too.
felt,
Sorry, I think in the comics too, the alligator Loki. There's a frog Thor.
yeah, Throg or something.
Yeah.
I saw that as well. But yeah, it was an enjoyable episode. I agree with Derek along the lines of the first episode. But yeah, 9.
You know,
Just go Alligator
thinking about it
Loki.
more, I'm still at a 10 out of 10, but I still do think I enjoyed episode 1 the most so far. That episode just was special to me, and I really was thoroughly
Oh,
shocked by that one. But yeah, no, this episode I really enjoyed it too, for sure. Now, as a Sylvie goes, were you gonna say something?
I was gonna say another plot hole that, or I guess just dumb writing is Loki sat down in episode 1 and watched his entire life, almost his entire life with Mobius, and then he tries to lie to Mobius about some secret meeting that he had with the variant Loki or Sylvie. Okay,
Hmm.
3 episodes ago, you just sat down and watched your
Yeah.
entire life to your death. So if you gotta assume Mobius here has done the same thing, and
Yeah.
he also was like heads up about your life in episode 1, knowing what would happen and what has happened. Whatever. I just rewatching it, I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of dumb, but
Hmm.
it's really not that bad of a dumb
Of
writing.
of all of the lies he's tried to tell Mobius this season, that one was the weakest. I was like, stop.
Hmm.
Like, I would have shut it down. I would have been like, stop it. Stop. Stop.
Yeah. Now with Sylvie, I agree with you, Derek. I want to see her in the main medium as well. I don't agree with you at the same time though, because I don't think it's going to happen. The reason why is if she is indeed a Loki, I can't imagine there being two Lokis. They're going to have one, and whether they get
Wait,
rid of
that
Tom Hiddleston or they get rid of her,
was that
uh,
not confirmed in this episode? She's Loki,
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
well,
confirmed.
she's Sylvie.
But I mean,
So like
yeah,
but her
in the
origin
main
is
thing.
Loki. Like she
but
was
they
taken
but they
from
never.
Asgard.
Yes, but they never. She never confirmed that she's a Loki.
Here's why I disagree with you.
Huh?
Three
She
Spider
says I'm
Mans.
not Loki. In episode 3, she kept on saying like I'm not a Loki. I'm not a Loki. I'm not Loki. Don't call me Loki.
Right, because she doesn't want to be associated. Well,
Well, that's
we
what
don't
we're
know
assuming.
why. We don't know why, but I'm pretty certain that she's a Loki.
I know. I
In
agree.
this
I'm not
episode, it
saying
opens with her getting taken off of Asgard,
yeah,
and she
but
talks about being from Asgard.
yeah, but it doesn't necessarily mean that she is indeed Loki. Like she could have been Sylvie from Asgard. Who knows?
Hey, if she's not Loki, then it's not weird, right?
Right. Even if I don't know. But
Well,
my point is
we'll
like
find
it's
out.
not
I,
100% is all I'm saying.
you're reaching here. These are theories.
Yeah, just theories.
These are theories.
But yeah,
That is
I
true.
don't imagine both of them living or at the same time,
Oh,
and I honestly think it's going back kind of on what you said that it is going to be Sylvie that. Well, you know what? I could see it both ways. I initially I thought it would be Sylvie dying and Tom Hiddleston's
mm,
Loki having his heroic reasoning. You know, he wants to be better. He wants to be a better Loki. She showed him that it could be different. Um, or I could see it the other way. I could see that Tom Hiddleston be saying on his death grave, like, "Don't be like me, be better."
Uh,
Which who
yeah.
knows?
I
You
hope
know?
not. They've already done that.
Yeah,
So
It's
I'll
yeah.
give like two possible realities that I could see happening, and then I'll give a ridiculous one. The because those are always fun to throw out at the end of the. I think I was like Steve Rogers might be one of the time people, and that was just me kind of being silly. Um, okay, so here's the two realistic things that I can see. I can see Mobius dying, not dying, but being written out um, by having his happy ending, very much like Steve Rogers getting his dance or whatever
Going
with
back to the '90s and getting a jet
yeah,
ski.
with Carter or whatever. And him, yes, the very end scene, him being like, I'm free, and he's finally kind of like the little vampire, if you remember that movie, where
Mm.
Loki like can stare at him and then he stares back, but he doesn't recognize who he is, but Loki knows who Mobius is, so he just
Oh,
smiles. Can you imagine that? Oh man, that'd make me cry.
heartbreak.
I almost cried in this one. So I can imagine that, and that would be cool to see all of the variants that we know. B-15 and Mobius get their happy endings. I would like to see that. For Sylvie, I think she's going to be around. I think her and Loki are going to be around. Now, they can be easily written out of the main storyline by saying, well, we need to, because what I'm assuming is this is going to break the sacred timeline and we're going to have multiverse, which is going to lead to all the other stuff. And they're going to have to go around through different multiple universes doing their thing, so they're not going to be around. They're just going to do their own thing. And maybe they come back with season 2 of Loki, of
Yeah.
them going to other universes. Here's my ridiculous thing. Now that alligator Loki or croc Loki is real, is it possible? Is it possible that
Frog.
Steve Irwin,
No, no.
crocodile
Steve,
hunter, did not die, but was
Oh, no.
abducted by the TVA specifically to catch Gator Loki, and that is who got Gator Loki, and he's a TVA agent, and he can possibly come back.
Listen,
Is
if
that
Steve Irwin comes into the show, I will turn over all titleship of everything on this podcast to you, and you can own it. Okay, that'd be incredible. That's
18 years and younger right now are going, who? You need to do your
Steve
homework.
Irwin.
Do your homework, kids. Go watch Crocodile Hunter. Anyway, that's all I got to say.
that is pretty funny. Now, one other thing I want to point out is that's Richard Grant at the end. Did you guys catch that?
Who?
Richard Grant, the actor.
I don't know who that is.
In the credits, oh yeah, you do. He's in Game of Thrones. He was in Logan.
As who?
In Game of
Mr. Davos?
Thrones, let's see.
Huh?
Um, I was looking at his IMDb, but can we?
He's
See?
gonna be a side character. I don't.
Was he the old guy or the little boy? Or
No, he's the old guy.
Richard Grant?
Yes, unless he's the voice of the
Portrays-
alligator.
He portrays Eisenbarrow. I think he's the tree before the tree.
Oh.
He's a side character in Game of Thrones.
Oh, no, I know this guy.
Yeah, he's Dr. Rice in Logan.
This guy's a good character actor. I like him.
Yeah, he's one of
Oh, he's not the tree.
the commanding, like I think isn't he the one that like kind of looks like he's the captain dude in Star Wars, right? The very like I can't even think of his name. Moff
Gideon?
yeah, Moff Gideon, sorry. That's been a weird night. He's like he has that kind of portrayal. But yeah, he's in the show. And I think I'm actually going back to the scene right now and looking at the old looking Loki. I don't know if that's him. I think it looks like him, but he has a great voice, great actor. So that's kind
Oh,
of fun,
well, if he has a great voice, it was probably his voice then, I would imagine.
right? And then also because I was just like going through the credits.
Ew. Oh no.
Huh?
Oh, you gotta look up the picture of him in Game of Thrones. He's clearly wearing a wig.
Yeah, he wearing a wig.
Wait, was he one of the actors that
He's-
Maisie Williams is like watching and then she has to kill or something?
I
'Cause
don't-
that would make me-
he's a murmurer from Bravos. That's what I saw, and I just went, okay, whatever that means.
All right. Well,
He ain't nothing big.
Yeah. Okay. That's a terrible
Alright.
wig.
yeah, this costume's the one we saw in the picture is better than the one you got in Game of Thrones. Come on, Game of Thrones.
All right.
HBO, where you at? And it's a
Um,
6th season too.
But yeah, the special guest star is him, as well as there were two others. Jack Veal I wonder if these are just the people that are the other Lokis. Well, no. Uh, maybe. Hold on. I'm going to do my best to pronounce this. Diobia Opare? Is it the
I
Black
hope
Loki? Maybe.
maybe.
Woman? I don't know. I don't know if I said that. I don't know if it's Deborah. I don't know. I don't know if I said that right. And then Kaylee Fleming.
Right.
Um, those are four. So one of them have to be the alligator. So yeah, we have four and then four Lokis.
Yeah. What was the Gator saying? Did they credit the Gator?
No, no, no.
I
It just said
didn't
special guest
see.
star. It didn't say.
Can we get like? Is somebody paying that Gator? Somebody's got to be paying that Gator.
CGI, yeah, they're paying a bunch of artists poorly, probably.
You know, with Marvel, they're definitely gonna have someone voice it. It's gonna be awesome. Um, I mean, the Rocket Raccoon is such an iconic voice, and I would have never thought it was.
I don't think there's going to be a voice
No,
for the Gator.
I'm
No.
just saying.
If
I do because there are
if
four guest stars. I don't know who else would be a guest star.
if you get
There's
a voice, you got to get Joe Pesci.
Oh, this is spoilers. Dang it!
Uh
Unfortunate.
oh. Oh no.
It is.
No.
I was wrong.
Joe
The
Pesci.
voice.
I want
according to this
John
article,
Madden. I
is
want John
Richard
Madden to
Grant
voice him.
at the end.
So the voice is Richard Grant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would assume so because he does. I know the actor. I've seen him in a couple of things,
Ah,
and yeah, his voice is pretty cool. Like he's a good character actor.
I agree.
Anyway,
But I digress. You guys have anything else you want to say about the episode? We've already been going about an hour. Thank you guys for sticking with us this long. You guys have anything else you want to add?
I mean, wrestling logic is sound, right? I think that I had said that beef. Did I say beef? I don't know if I said B15, but I knew for sure Mobius, just based on how his character is, would turn against the TVA or the other way around. But yeah, I think learning more about Renslayer this upcoming episode is going to be a lot of fun.
I agree. Mikey?
You don't love alligator Loki? Get out.
Yeah, we know you love them. Other than
Right.
that, guys, thank you guys so
Or
much for
crocodile.
tuning in again to the Good Batch podcast. We will be doing this weekly as well as some other shows coming up in the future, and maybe some shows that have already come and gone that we want to revisit. Just friends talking, and we want to make it as friendly as possible for anyone just to feel like they can come hang out. So you can find us on Twitter. Links are going to be everywhere. You'll see them. But
You can get
other
mad
than
at me
that,
on Twitter.
Twitter, Patreon, all that good stuff. And then we'll see you guys next week. Thanks.